falling. The fire is calling both of our names. The lights are bright on a Christmas tree when I've got you next to me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. It's crazy. It's hard to believe that it's already December 23rd. Does Christmas season go fast for anyone in here? Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost Christmas. Tonight, what I want to do in the little amount of time we have together is to just kind of stop and think of Christmas as a whole. Like to maybe gain some perspective for the next couple days as you're going throughout your Christmas celebrations. So has anyone ever been to a holiday boutique? You know what I'm talking about when I say the holiday boutique? Like, at the school, like the elementary schools, when the little shops set up and kids have a chance to buy gifts for their family members. You know what I'm talking about, right? Is that still what they call it, the holiday boutique? Okay, yeah. So I got a lot of holiday boutique stories. I don't know, for me, just there are always crazy things that were happening at the holiday boutique. I remember one year when I was in kindergarten, I was so excited to get gifts for people in my family. And there was this one thing I got for my sister. Now, this was before my brother was born, my younger brother, so I hadn't quite lost the title of favorite just yet. So I bought something for my sister at the holiday boutique. It was this frame. I don't remember it exactly, but it was a picture frame, and I figured she would like it. And so I get the frame, I get the other things. School ends. I go running to my mom's car. I get in there, and she's like, "What'd you get? What'd you get?" And I show her some stuff. I'm like, "Oh, look what I got for Danielle." And I take out the frame, and then my sister comes running over. So I hide it and put it away. And then my sister gets in the car, and she looks at my sister. She's like, "What'd you get? What'd you get for everyone?" She's like, "Well, I can't tell you what I got for everyone because Lou's in the back and you're here. But I can tell you," she goes, "I was thinking about getting this picture frame for you, but the only one they had was so ugly." And the way my mom describes it, she said she just looked in the back seat and I just folded into myself in sorrow, crushed, Another year, my brother went to the holiday boutique and he came back with a gift for my dad. It was a trophy and it said #1 grandpa. It was great. Then there was this one year, okay, and this is the meaningful one, okay? There was this one year, I was in 4th grade. My parents gave me some money. 4th grade, 5th grade, honestly, I don't remember what year. But my parents gave me some money. I go to the holiday boutique, and I'm looking around these little tchotchke things you have to buy, and I see this little desk ornament. It's one of those metal figures that balances. It's a basketball player, stick figure, metal basketball player. Now, this is before Amazon. It was before I could drive. I see this thing, and I'm like, I need that. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna have another chance to get it, so I better get that now, right? So that's the wise thing to do. So I get it, I buy it for myself. Then I was walking around and I see this pencil holder, and I got that too for myself. You probably see where this is going. Eventually the teacher's like, "All right, that's it, time to go back to class. Holiday boutique is over." And I'm just thinking, this is not a good situation that I've put myself in. I had no gifts for anyone in my family, and just gifts for myself. And so you could probably imagine how that conversation went when I got home and had to explain, this thing is for me, and I don't have anything for anyone else. And it was honestly embarrassing for me, kind of telling my parents what I had done at the boutique. And if I could, going back, if I could go into a time machine and grab a hold of my little 4th grade self, grab him, get his ear, I'd be like, "You made Christmas, you made it all about you," right? And so, conveniently, it leads me to my question. What is Christmas all about, right? Seems like a good place to probably discuss that. Maybe you like to watch Christmas movies. We were just watching Home Alone last night with my kids. Not the originals, this new one that they came out, which really shouldn't have been called Home Alone. But even in that movie, they're talking about how, it's really, Christmas is about spending time with family. Christmas is about generosity. In other movies, you'll see Christmas is about hope. It's about joy. It's about peace. We'll talk about a lot of those things. What is Christmas all about. Or maybe you've heard it this way. Maybe you've heard, ready? I just made this up just now. What's the reason for the season? You ever hear that? What are we celebrating here? Well, if you've ever seen a Charlie Brown Christmas, right? There's that scene at the end with Linus where someone asks him, hey, what's Christmas all about? What's the reason for the season? And he reads this passage. The same passage I want to show you. It's a passage that comes from a biography written about Jesus by a guy named Luke. And here's the passage that people turn to when they go to find out what the reason for this season is. But before I tell you the passage, really, I think you know what I'm going to say about the reason for the season. And you may be right. Like, you may know. But how you understand this, like how it lands with you, will determine whether Christmas for you is just like kind of a fun time of year or even a different time of year, or if this, like what we're talking about, actually has the ability to change your life for the better, like year round, not just in December. And so what's the reason for the season? Well, here's what Luke writes. Maybe you've heard this before. He says, there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby. They took care of sheep, and so they actually had to live out there with them. They stayed out there at night. It says, keeping watch over their flocks at night. And then something crazy happens. It says, an angel of the Lord, a messenger from God, appears to these shepherds, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. This was an overwhelming experience for these guys out in a field, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, don't be afraid. This is a good thing. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Here's why. Today, in the town of David, which is a reference to King David, it's the town of Bethlehem, that's where David's from, so they call it the town of David, a savior, a hero, has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. There it is, right? A savior has been born. Someone's been born, we think right away, birthday party, right? That's what we're here to celebrate. And so maybe you've heard this, right? Maybe you've heard Jesus, the Savior, the baby they're talking about, Jesus is the reason for the season. Anybody heard that before? Yeah. Now that's true, right? There's some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that, actually. But the way that we understand that, how that sinks in, really has dramatic implications, like profound implications, right? So if we say that Jesus is the reason for the season, and what we're celebrating here is the birth of Jesus, right? Think about a birthday. A birthday is for the one who was born. And so there are certain things you do for the one who is born, right? If, you know those gift tags, right? Like they put them on all your presents, says to and from, might look like this. Okay, if Jesus is the reason for the season, if we're celebrating his birthday, then what we're doing is to, or it's for him, and it's from you, or it's from us, right? Now imagine like there's somebody you love in your family, and you're gonna throw a party for them to celebrate their birthday. And you celebrate them. And so you got the cake, you got the big balloon with the number, how old they are, you got all the things to celebrate their birthday, because this is to them and for them. It's about them, right? Right? Follow me here? Yeah, so it's about them. Now, if all of a sudden somebody walked in and started celebrating something else, like let's say I walk in with my own cake and I'm like, no, I'm celebrating something I'm really happy about here. You'd probably get pretty protective. You'd be like, no, this is not about you. It's about them, right? We should be celebrating them. And maybe you've picked up on this vibe a little bit from the church. maybe you've been in the church for a while, or you've been around church people. Maybe church isn't totally for you, and you kind of picked up on that vibe. Like, it seems like sometimes people in the church get a little like protective about Christmas. Like, no, you shouldn't be celebrating all that other stuff. We got to be celebrating Jesus, right? Because this is to him, and it's for him. Anyone ever pick up on that a little bit? Maybe you feel that yourself. You feel like this obligation to kind of protect the reason for the season, because this is for him. It's to him. Like, when there's a gift, the recipient of the gift is the reason for the gift, right? So hold on a second. If we go back to that passage, if the recipient is the reason for the gift, what does this passage show us then? Right? Look at what the angel says to them. The angel says, don't be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people, for us. He goes on, he says, today in the town of David, a Savior has been born, but it doesn't end there. The period is not there. A Savior has been born to you. In other words, if we're looking at all of this, Christmas, the Christmas season, what we're celebrating, if it's a gift, it's not to him from us. It's actually from him to you. In other words, if you were to like pick up the phone right now, let's say you got like a straight shot line to heaven, and you were to talk to God himself and say, hey, what's the reason? What's the reason that the Savior came? What's the reason for this celebration? You know what he would say? He would say, you are the reason for the season. This is something for you, to you, from God. And before you just kind of write that off as like a cute little way to turn around a popular phrase, the reason that this is so important, like it is crucial to the way you understand who God is and what Jesus is like. You see, if it's all like to God from us, then everything you believe is about what you can do and what you can give to God. But at the heart of what we believe, of what followers of Jesus have been teaching for thousands of years, is that this entire thing, the whole package, is all about what God has given to us. He is the giver, and we are the recipients, and our whole lives are a response of gratitude to that. And so while it sounds noble to say that this is to Jesus from us, it's really backwards. And it will lead you to a form of religion or faith that's like you working and earning and trying to do enough for God so that maybe he'll like you. When the story is that Jesus came and gave everything for us when we did not deserve it, because he's in our corner and there's nothing we can do to get him out of it. And so if you're wondering, the idea of Christianity, whether you believe it wholeheartedly or like, no way, not for me, I just can't wait for this to be over. No matter where you are, my question for you is like, what version of Christianity have you come to understand? Is it the one that's to God from us? Or is it the one that is from him to you? There's a very simple way you can figure this out. If you think about doing anything or giving anything or obeying God or following Jesus or any part of the doing of faith, is it motivated internally by guilt or gratitude? That will answer your question. Are you working to meet a requirement that you think there is for God's love, or are you responding in gratitude to the love that God has for you in spite of what you can do? Jesus would grow up and just totally unpack this whole principle. Different ways he has come to give. He said he came to give life and life to the full. He said, if there's a hunger deep within you, I'm the bread to that hunger. If there is a thirst within you, I'm the water to that thirst. If you feel weary and tired, I am the rest for your soul. If you feel like darkness within you, I'm the light to that darkness. Saying, I came to give to you. And so it begins to make sense when you look back and hear the angels say, I've come to bring good news of great joy for all people. And so I'll be real open with you. Like what we do, the reason we get so excited about Christmas around here is because we know that there are people that are willing to step into church that normally wouldn't. And it's an opportunity to explain just how much God has given to us. And so what if this year for you, you took in a step in the direction of faith? Maybe you came back January 7th just to see, what is this all about? People, like this often would happen with Jesus. He would explain something and they would just say, just come and see. Just take a step in this direction. And for so many people, that was the beginning of something life-changing. Life-changing. This year, I'm going to ask the band to come back up here. But this year, what if God could get your ear? You celebrate Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, you sing all these songs, do all these things. What if God could get your ear and tell you that in a surprising turn of events, he made Christmas all about you? That is good news of great joy for all of us.